So let's look at Ben Jurek's list. We have Boss Snickerat making his appearance for the first time tonight. 3 Warbosses in mega armor, one of them with a teleporter enhancement. This is actually very much how I like to run Bully Boyz. You could make arguments for the enhancements, the other ones, but bare minimum, just bring teleporter, you feel good. And earlier I was asked about Gaz or told about Gaz. What I will say is Gaz himself is fantastic, especially with Mega Knobs. It feels really, really good. And at an RTT level, casual play, you won't feel bad for bringing him, all right? I promise, it feels great. What I will say, though, is that when we look at these GT performing lists of 5-0 undefeated, the vast majority of them do not bring Gas. And that's because they choose to simply have more stuff, more options, more activations. Gas is just not... It's because when you bring Gas, you're also trying to take advantage of Makari's ability of lethal. You don't really have the volume to take advantage of lethal in that, and you're already slow, and you're already kind of being bogged down on OC. You just need more stuff to play the game. And in this case, you can see he brought some Flashgitz and some Battlewagons for that instead of just being straight up trucks. So I'm not against Gaz being in this at all, as in if you're just playing, but just know at the top level events we just constantly see that Gaz is not brought, though Gaz is fantastic data sheet wise. So we have 3 trucks, 1 Battlewagon, 1 unit of Flashgitz because you just want some shooting, 5 strength when they're straight up punching, 5 with their buttload of attacks, so it's feels good, and you still get sustain, you still get lethal. Don't be mad, just play them in their 5-man units, you'll feel good. But this is actually a 10-man unit, so you can do both. If you're running 5-man units, you can run them SWAT teams alongside those 5-man knobs units that tend to run in Bully Boyz, but in this case he just took a 10-man unit. 2 Gretchens, 3 units of Mega Knobs, 2 of them being 5-mans, 1 being a 6-man unit for the teleporter guy, 3 5-man units of knobs, all with power claws, and then just simply 1 Storm Boy unit. Little surprised to just see 1 Storm Boy unit, but Ben made it work. Snicker out hopefully pulling his weight, and all the trucks doing some stuff as well. So let's take a look at his path to victory, like I always like to do. He's the second run right here, guys, in case you got confused. So his first game with a 76-point win, he went into Astra Militarum. So Astra Militarum, though they might not be doing good overall in the meta, just and statistically on paper, they don't do great into Orks anymore. Just know we're going to cover a list because it was Wargames Live. That was very, very interesting. So stay tuned. We have, and it was an Astra Militarum list, we have Cadian Castellan, Gaunt's Ghost with their shenanigans, Lord Solar Leontis, Platoon Command Squad, 1 unit of Cadian Shock Troopers, a big unit of that, 2 units of Catachan Jungle Fighters for their scouting potential, a straight up basic infantry squad, 2 Chimeras, which are excellent transports. For only 5 more points, you're getting slightly better weapons than a truck, slightly more durability. So it's just the units that are going in there aren't as good as a truck. So but just know Chimera's right there alongside the basic Orc truck, is one of the best transports in the game. Basilisk, of course, that can give you movement, reduction as you become earth shocked and you can't move, -2, I believe. You have a Hydra, Lehman Russ Battle Tank, Lehman Russ Battle Tank, Lehman Run Exterminator, and then a Rogel Dorn. All of these do great into something like a Battle Wagon, and the Exterminator does have the weapons, so does the Rogel Dorn, to kill Mega Knobs, especially on the non-wall turns. 3 units of Scout Sentinels and 1 unit of Tempest Scions. So I could see this being a big of a slobber knocker, right? You know that for 2 turns, your Mega Knobs are very much going to be able to hold up, but that doesn't mean he's not going to attempt to kill them. That doesn't mean some aren't going to die, and then they're going to start taking casualties throughout the game and hoping that you can kill just enough of them. They do have some bodies for screening you, taking middle of the board presence, so they can actually start to play the game into Bully Boyz. And Bully Boyz don't typically have the volume. This is where a 10-man unit of Flashgitz could really rise and shine, right? They jump out, they're wounding them on 2s. They can end up punching a unit without you really caring too much about losing your own Flashgitz unit. So run in there, take out 20 Cadian shocks. They do end up taking the medic, so I think they get a Felix to feel no pain, this med pack right here. That's why having 2 damage on the snagger guns will actually feel kind of good in that case too. So all in all, this isn't like a bad guard list. As you can see, the guard lists are going to vary greatly because guard got nerfed so hard from the indirect loss that they played differently. And like we can see here, this was his lowest scoring win. So that could be matchup mission dependent, but just know guard do just have tools into Orks. Second, we go into his second matchup, which is World Eaters. I like to think Orks do great into World Eaters, especially when you can fight on death with the Bully Boyz. So we have Angron, Karn the Betrayer, which does quite well into heroic challenging characters, like a mega war boss, right? You can kill a war boss, so be careful. Lord Invocatus, or Lord Avocado, Master of Executions, getting his fight first into you. Jackals, so they can get some sticky. 2 units of Corn Berserkers. 1, the 5-man unit is undoubtedly for Karn, and then the 10-man unit undoubtedly for the Master succession of executions because it's really trying to defend him, take advantage of his blood surge, and fight first. And then you have a World Eater's Rhino, which I would think is for the 10-man unit. 8 bound, another unit of 8 bound, another unit of 8 bound. So this is 3 units of 8 bound, followed by 2 units of exalted 8 bound. So this is very much CP management, using your ability to screen with something like I said with Flashgitz, even Grots. They don't have shooting to pop your Battlewagon, pop your trucks. Don't let yourself get tagged. Understand those weaknesses and those strengths that you have as an Ork player, because you know they're going to take the initiative from you, right? But they're going to be end up charging into your truck so you can get the clap back on them. You do need to be smart in this, but we have all the tools to really take out World Eaters and beat them. So I wouldn't really be sweating going into a World Eaters player. I just hope Angron doesn't come back 4 times and make it a dreadful game. A dreadful game. But shout out to you for taking out the World Eaters. I definitely like when someone tries to get stuck in with us and we get the better end of it, right? Then we have the Grey Knight. So we have Brotherhood Librarian, Castellan Crow, Grandmaster Dread Knight, and Kaldor Drago. I'm going to show you Castellan Crow and Purifier combo right after I look at this list. Brotherhood Terminator Squad, Strike Marine, Inceptor, Nemesis Dread Knight, Paladins, Purifier Squad, 10-man. So what does a Purifier do on tactics? Well, let's take a look at him. And let's take a look at Castellan Crow. So let's start with Castellan Crow because he's the leader and we all know it's his fault. So he himself has a Purifying Flame, Anti-Infantry 2+, ignoring cover, Psychic, and then you also get the Storm Bolter shots as well on that for these guys because they get to use Oath. So you get his Champion of the Order of Purifiers. While this model is leading a unit, add 1 to the attack characteristics of Purifying Flames. So he gets an additional Purifying Flame shot. Boom, he's now up to 4, and he has a Storm Bolter shot, which is another 4. As you can see, the volume is starting to show. Keep in mind, he is someone that's good at killing Ork characters as he has devastating precision built in. 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 6, -2 damage. So something like a Weird Boy, hypothetically even a War Boss, he can end up taking you out. So just keep that in mind. But what does his Purifiers do? This is the combo that even if you're playing Green Tide, you should be aware of. They are taking Purifying Flames, which is the same profile, but 1 shot only, and they have a built-in -1 AP. So this becomes 2 shots. They still get their Storm Bolter shots, and they are still Psychic Nemesis Force weapons in melee. So you still get the strength 6 -2 damage. So something like Knobs is still getting punched up. Then for their ability, it is each time this model makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll this unit. Add 1 to the hit roll if this unit is below starting strength, and add 1 to the wound roll if it is below half strength. Okay, so that's the data sheet ability. Not commonly going to come up for us as Orks, but I have seen this played wrong where the player thinks he just gets built in +1 to hit innately, and then he ends up just shooting you at hitting on 2s because these are called Purifying Flames, but they are not flamers. They are hitting on 3s and actually have an actual amount of shots. So I just wanted to show that combo because it is common. People take this as a tech piece against Orks, against Green Tide. So just keep that in mind. So how does this list do into Bully Boyz? Surprisingly, it really does have the potential to kill you, as Nemesis Dread Knights do have good profiles into killing stuff because they're flat damage 3 on the non-wall turns. Your Knobs are not necessarily going to kill them in 1 shot unless you get kind of lucky. Kaldor Drago can get the initiative on you and kill you. Dread Knights can can shoot out your trucks, but they don't really kill a Battlewagon, so the Battlewagon becomes a big factor in this. Our army-wide -2, -3 damage for Bully Boyz feels really good into Grey Knights, as they all have a built-up 2 armor save, so all these Inceptor squads and Strike Marines that would normally be like, haha, I can stand up to your boy mobs, they end up getting chewed apart and killed. But keep in mind, as I said earlier, they do have stratagems to end up picking up back into the sky if you get within 9 of them, so it's not necessarily easy to run them down. And if you just look to get cheap shots into them from the Flashgitz, they can also just end up jumping back into the sky as well. So you need to be smart about where you delegate those attacks, where you stage your trucks, and how you actually screen so that you don't lose stuff from the mean green too early, right? Grey Knights are great, but you really just need to know their abilities, like Castellan Crow being able to Castellan Crow and Kaldor Drago being able to jump in your face and really punch and knock your teeth in if you're not prepared for that. Now, I want to go over the most interesting list I looked over this weekend, which is very, very fun to look at as someone who looks over lists all the time. And actually likes Astro Time. So we have Dino Riders. So this is on Wargames Live. You can go catch this game. It's a really close game, really back and forth. I really hope that you check it out. But we have Death Rider, Squadron Commander, Death Rider, Squadron Commander, another Squadron Commander. So what does that do? He actually gives it so they get infiltrated for the Death Rider squad, and he gets dev wounds when they make a charge. You guys know. We have Solar Leontis, Militarm Tempestus command squads, 2 of them, Primary Psyker, Primary Psyker, Primary Psyker, and then Ursula Creed. So we have 1, 2, 3 units of Torox Primes. Then we have the Atalan Rough Riders. So not only do you have the Death Riders, but you have the Atalan Rough Riders. The difference is the Death Riders are getting dev wounds, but they don't have good strength or AP. They also get to infiltrate, so they're kind of initial charge. And then the Atalan Rough Riders are getting actually Melta-Lances, high damage ability, great AP. They can actually punch out your Mega Knobs in this case. And of course their hooves get killed, get some punches too from their mounts. You do have a Kazarkin squad here, a Tempestus, 3 Tempestus Scion squads, which are 3-man units, which can come in, do great shooting potential, as if you're in an objective. I believe they get +1 to hit. They have special weapons, so they can end up putting Melta shots and plasma shots into your Mega Knobs and your basic knobs. So this list is actually quite killy. These cavalry units are constantly coming back and charging back onto the objectives that get you. I am actually going to show you these data sheets. So one ability from the Death Rider command squad is the fact that they have Lance, 3 attacks, strength 4, only -1 AP, and then their Savage Claws, which are extra attacks from their mouse, are 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, strength 4, -1 AP. So us Orks were like, man, that doesn't really hurt us. But like I said earlier, the character gives them the ability to get dev wounds when they charge. They also have the ability called Screening Line. Once per turn, when the enemy unit ends a normal move or fallback move within 9, not engaged with this unit, you can make a normal move up to 6. So as you're staging to charge them, they can actually stage and charge you even better, or they can get out of your charge range and then counter charge you the following turn because they're movement 12. So that's something we got to keep in mind if you're playing against this. I don't know how popular this this one ended up being, but it did make quite a splash, and people do have 3D printers. Then we have the Atalan Riders. So in this case, I think when we looked at this, he had hunting lances, and they were the gold lances. 2 dudes had gold lances. Okay, so the gold lances have lance built in, strength 6, -2 damage for only 2 hits, and then the hunting lance, they either have frag tip, so it's D6 for like volume of punches, but really it's melta tip, which is lance 1 punch hitting on 3s, strength 9, -4, which Mega Knobs hate to see, for D damage, and then they still have extra hooves attack, as well as they can ignore any modifiers to advances in charge rolls, and in addition, they're eligible to shoot and declare a charge if it's fallen back. So I don't know if it's really fallen back when they make into combat with knobs and such. This is where the unit you're going, I'm gonna fight on death against these guys, but guess what? They have regimental keyword, meaning they can actually come back and be brought back on the table. So this is a back and forth. You can watch this game on Wargames Live. They had a good back and forth, and I hope that we see a more Astro Militarum list like that again, as it was very, very exciting and very, very unique. Now, last but certainly not least, we have this final matchup, which is everybody's favorite, the Dreaded Sisters. Now, the Sisters of Battle are getting a book here real soon, so I'm not going to go too deep into this, but it is what it is. Morganval, Palatine, Saint Celestine, Triumph of Saint Catherine, so he can give a nice 6-inch aura of abilities. Battle Sisters, 2 Immolator squads, 3 Arcoflagellants, 2 Castigators, Crusaders, which I don't think exists anymore, Paragon Warsuits, Penitent Engines, Seraphim Squad, and Sisters Novitiates and Seraphim. So the name of the game here is that they have a lot of good activations. They do have a little bit of killing potential with the Paragon and Warsuits. The Castigators don't do great into Mega Knobs nor Battlewagons, and then the Arcoflagellants are one of those units that doesn't really die as quickly as you would want. You do like that they are damaged too, but there's a bunch of them, and they do get a stupid volume of attacks with good transport capability. Castigators just don't have enough AP with their battle cannons, only -1. You do still need to be careful with this matchup as an Orc player, but Mega Knobs are really carrying the back here, and Flashgitz would really feel good in this matchup, as you actually have something to reach out and shoot the Arcoflagellants. Overwatch the Arcoflagellants, put lethal and sustain into the Arcoflagellants, and then even counter charge and punch the crap out of the Arcoflagellants on the wall, because you'll be wounding them at 2s as they are just T3 sisters. So Bully Boyz have a good job of actually running over Sisters of Battle, getting onto their side of the table and beating them up. So if you're running Bully Boyz, you have a great job. Just like Josh out here in your league, shout out to you, buddy. I'm sure you'll do great with Bully Boyz, and I hope you have fun. So we have Ben Jurek going 5-0 I'm not sure if he got first or second at this Wargames event. It looks like second, but I also heard first. So, whoa for Ben Jurek, going 5-0 with the Bully Boyz, letting everybody know that Bully Boyz are still here to stay, and this is the way I like to see them run too. So, shout out to you. But I do think if you're just out there watching this, if you're running boys in there, if you're running gads, those all actually work as well. And we've shown other really good potential Bully Boyz lists. We'll see how Bully Boyz change and develop once Mega Knobs do end up taking a slight point increase. Maybe the War Boss or just the leaders themselves will take increases. But nonetheless, we've seen other ways that Bully Boyz can be ran, but this is the straight up successful archetype base point per point that I can agree with. Whether the Flashgitz are two, let me show this one more time. Whether the units are 2 5-man units of Flashgitz or just 1 10-man unit of Flashgitz, this is the way I really like to see them a Bully Boyz list run. I don't think you need a 10-man unit of knobs. Sorry, you don't really need a 10-man unit of knobs. You can stick 2 of these units into one truck and get great value. One jumps out, beats something up. The next wall, one jumps out, beats something up. But if you do split this up, like the Flashgitz units, you can go ahead and make SWAT teams, end up throwing 5 in each of these trucks with 5 units of knobs as well. So this looks and feels really good, which regardless of which way you ran it. I love Twin Kill Sauce for the minus AP factor and great reliability of wound potential. I know you lose attacks, but the wall makes up the difference for that. Rerolling hit stratagem really helps make up the difference for that. And when you're just wounding a lot of stuff on 2s and 3s in the game and rerolling wounds, you know, it changes the math on that. Sure, you're not hitting as reliably, but you're wounding so reliably that it kind of makes up the difference. I like to see that the Battlewagon is still making its way all around the game between Green Tide, Dread Mob, Bully Boyz. So if you have a Battlewagon, just running one, it feels good. Get him up and built up. If you haven't, because he's showing a lot of love, and I don't see him taking a nerf by any points. I think 160 points is an awesome place to be for Orks for the Battlewagon, so I really love that.
Let's get stuck in, lads!